Okay, so this is Tomonori, your instructor for Japanese class. Today we're gonna talk about te ageru, te kureru, and te morau. Okay. This is one of the most difficult Japanese grammar, but you already have learned the pieces in the previous classes. So what we're gonna do is just combine them all together. One thing you know about this grammar is that you can combine te form of a verb with something else, some another verb. So for example, you can say 学校に勉強しに行く。学校に勉強しに行く which means go to study. Right? So these two verbs 勉強する and 行く are combined to indicate to say go to study. You can also say 今日は遊びに来ました。今日は遊びに来ました。which means came to play. 先生、人が死んでいます。先生、人が死んでいます。So this is combined 死にます to die and います to exist. So it's a little bit strange, but exist being dead. So that's something you did. So you have to use the te form of the verb and combine with another verb to express more nuanced expressions. Another thing you know is ageru and kureru, ageru, kureru, and morau. Right? In the previous chapters, you did ageru, kureru, morau. And one thing we talked about is in Japanese, there are two different give. So to give, there are two different expressions in Japanese. So I call them to give outward or to give inward. So first expression is ageru, which means to give in English. And second one is kureru, to give, also to give in English. Right? The difference is ageru and kureru, although they both mean to give, ageru always things goes from your side to outside. So I call it outward to give. Kureru is also to give. So someone's gonna give you something, but the things always move from outside to your side. So I call it to give inward. Okay. And there is so this chart shows the difference between ageru and kureru. So in Japanese, we usually distinguish three different social groups in terms of the distance from yourself. The closest is yourself. Obviously, you being speaker is the closest to yourself. So I is always the closest. The next one is something called the in-group. In Japanese, we call it uchi. In-group includes such as family members, close friends, and the people who are in front of you, the current interlocutors. So someone who are right there are in group. The other one is out group. So in Japanese called soto. And they are people that you don't know well, someone who are not present. Although we are talking about someone, but that person is not present in the conversation, when in the physical place. Okay, so we have uchi, yourself, uchi, and soto. And if the thing, let's say banana. Okay, so someone gives you banana, and someone, let's say, people who don't know well, gives banana to you. Okay, the movement is from outside to inside, so we use the verb くれる. So someone gave you banana, then you should use くれる. Okay. Let's think about you gave banana to someone you don't know well. Okay. So the banana was moved from you to someone who you don't know well. So you gave banana to someone. The movement is from inside to outside. So then you use あげる. Okay. So these are the two different things. Okay. So if the things or action move from outside to inside, it is くれる. If the thing or an action comes from your side to outside, you use あげる. One important thing to remember is both of them is in English to give. Okay. We're gonna talk about the difference later, but both of them are to give. So I give you or someone gives you. Okay. So always it's about the action of giving. Okay. There is another expression called the もらう. We talk about あげる、くれる、もらう all together, but もらう is completely different from the other two verbs, such that it means to receive in English. Okay, so both あげる and くれる, in terms of the movement, I give you, so I is a giver, but when you say I receive, I is the receiver, so someone else gave you, right? So it's completely different action. Okay, it's a little bit confusing because we talked about this inside and outside relationships, but the difference between あげる、くれる and もらう already exists in English. Right? It's exactly the same difference between to give or and to receive. Okay. So let's take a look at an examples. So what we do is we combine with 手本 and あげる、くれる and もらう to indicate the something, you did something and something is from your side to outside, or something is from outside to your side, or you receive some action. Okay. So, for example, 私が友達に電話をしてあげる. Oh, this is not original. So one tiny error here. Okay. So 私が友達に電話をしてあげる. So 私 is the someone who gave, which is the subject, and 友達 is the recipient of this action, 電話をする. So I gave my friend a phone call. Okay? Since the action is from your side to your friend, so if you go back from your side to outside, so you use あげる. 私が友達に電話をしてあげる. If your friend gave you a phone call, you say 友達が私に電話. Oh, it's missing lots of errors. 電話をして Now you use くれる. Okay. Since the action making a phone call came from outside to inside, your side. Okay, so we use verb くれる. Okay. One important thing to note is in both cases, the subject, these are the givers. Okay. So in both cases, the one subject marked as subject ga with ga are the one who gave, and those marked with ni are recipient. Right. Morau is completely different because morau is to receive. So this is exactly the same as in English. So if you say 私が友達に電話をしてもらう, now the subject is receiver. I received or recipient if you use the same expression here. And 友達に, now this is giver. 電話をしてもらう. I received a phone call from my friend. Okay. So in a way, these two expressions means exactly the same. Like in English, if you say I gave him a phone call, you received a phone call from him. So you can say the same action from two different perspectives using to give or to receive. In Japanese, you can do the same thing with this, right? And the difference between these two, あげる, くれる, let's write here same. The difference between あげる and くれる are the movement. How things are moved around in your social proximity, right? So if it's something from outside to inside, you use あげる. If inside to outside, you use くれる. Good. So I think the grammar itself is straightforward. What's difficult is to sort of conceptualize what it means to inside and outside, uchi and soto. So when you speak Japanese, you have to be always conscious about how distant your listener is from in your social proximity, right? So for example, in this exercise, I give you a few minutes to think about to rate those individuals, how close or how far from you. Okay, so let's use the scale of 10, scale of 1. I mean, the rating 1 is the closest, which means I. Okay, so since you're the most closest, and the farthest is 10. So let's use between 1 to 10. Let's think about how far they are. Okay. Then examples are 父, your father, 妹, your sister, little sister, 姉, your big sister, 私の子供, your child, your friend, Mariko, Takashi, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, Tanaka-san, who is at the same social status, who has the same social status as yours, 私の生徒, my student, 私の犬, my dog, 先生, teacher, 社長, CEO, Yamada-san, who is socially superior. So I give you a few minutes to think about. Okay. Okay, so let's do it. This is my just my ratings, so you may have a different kind of social distance with those people, but let's say Chichi is maybe 4, Imoto is 4, 4. Watashi no kodomo, your child is a lot closer. Mariko-san, I think she happens to be very close friends, so I'd say 4. But I'm not as close with Takashi, so let's say 6. And the boyfriend is maybe close. You may think that they're as close as their own family members, so 4. So here, your social distance has something to do with their social status as well. If someone has a higher social status, you tend to have a more social distance. It's a bit harder to get close to someone with a socially high status. So Tanaka-san could be 6. But if you have Yamada-san, who has a socially superior status, maybe a little bit farther, 7. Watashi no seito, I'd say you're neutral, 5. I like my dog, 5. My teacher is also 5. Shacho is 6. Okay. This kind of ranking is important because the movement happens between any of those 2 individuals, right? So if you say, let's say your child gave something to your father. So if anything goes from my child to my father, which one do you use, ageru or kureru? You use ageru, right? Since I think my child is closer than my father from inside to outside, then you have to use ageru. Okay. Let's say my friend Takashi gave something to Mariko. They're both friends, right? So you want to say that the Takashi gave something to Mariko. Which one do you use, ageru or kureru? You use kureru. Okay, because Takashi is outside and the things move to Mariko, who is inside. So in a way, although they're both friends, you're making judgment that who is closer to you and who is farther to you. Okay, so it's kind of awkward. If you believe that the Mariko is closer, you're good friends, and if you say ageru, they might feel awkward. Now you said that Takashi is closer to Mariko, who should be your best friend. Okay, so ageru and kureru has a lot to do with this social distancing, right? So you have to make a judgment of who is closer to you and who is not, which way the things move around, and then you make the judgment about it. These are the exercise that we have, and here you have to use either ageru or kureru. Okay. Since remember, morau is to receive, so they're completely different thing. So this is the example, the practice of the distinction between ageru and kureru. So you have to use the right to give. So if you use ageru or kureru, I'm gonna give you some time to take a look, and I share the answers later. So if you want to pause, you pause the video and do the exercise now. So this is the second page. So you do exercise again and check your answers. Okay, and these are translation again. You spend some time and I share the answers. Okay, so that's it on ageru, kureru, and morau. I'm gonna post the exercises you can do after this video, and if you see the comment box of the YouTube, you should see the list of the exercise you should do. Okay.